Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Welcome to the Crime and Sports podcast. Thank you for joining us, our inaugural episode. I am James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host, Jimmy Whisman. Hey, thank you for introducing yourself here. We are going to be covering some criminal athletes, or athlete criminals, however you want to say it. We're going to be covering these people, especially the dumbest ones. Yes. We're going to really try to find the ones that really threw it all away, because that's the most fun, I think, that we're going to have with this. This is going to be offensive to both the perpetrators and the victims, more than likely. So if you have a problem with that, probably not the best thing for you. But if not, if you want to have some fun, let's talk about some idiots, and let's do it with our first episode today, focusing on Rae Carruth.
We are the youngest. This is our first. We're the Pelicans of podcasts. This is number one. We're the New Orleans Pelicans today. I dig it.
Number one draft pick today is Rae Carruth.
Rae Carruth. Number one.
Actually, the number one draft pick for the Carolina Panthers in 1997.
The number 27 pick overall, and their first pick in the first round.
A good choice.
Great choice.
Yeah, you can tell.
He led all rookie receivers that year with 4 touchdowns and 44 receptions, I believe.
Yeah, he was doing well for himself.
Very well.
I mean, he's kind of a mediocre player anyway. Madden.
$3.7 million contract, though. Yeah, had his life on track, life on target.
Well.
Yeah.
I mean, he was probably like a 66 in Madden. You know what I mean? He was okay. Yeah. He had good speed, but his route running's a little poor.
For an expansion team, that's a great receiver.
It's not bad. You know, as sort of, we never knew how it was going to break out for old Rae Carruth, but he made sure of that outcome.
As history showed, yes, he figured it out.
Absolutely did. Yeah. Let's start out with Rae Carruth. He grew up, I guess, in Sacramento. Went to college at Colorado.
CU Buffs.
That's right. And then he was drafted, as we said, by the Carolina Panthers. Played for a couple years, things going well. And then things got a little weird when he impregnated a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Sharika Adams was a real estate agent. And, I mean, nobody deserves to be shot from a moving vehicle, but I don't believe I've met a real estate agent that at some point I wouldn't like to shoot from a moving vehicle.
Didn't deserve at least a couple chasing them. Whether they hit.
That's the thing.
Right. But a couple at least to scare them.
Just to keep them on their toes.
Because they're just absorbing money and they do nothing.
Oh, and they're cheery.
Snaky.
Yeah, anybody who
smiles that much.
Yes.
You got a problem. You're hiding something.
And basically, they want to make you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for the smell of cookies. Go fuck yourself. Okay, right away. So anyway, this we've painted a wonderful picture of her. I'm sure she was a wonderful girl. First of all, fantastic. Anyway, Rae Carruth meets her. They date a little bit. Rae is banging lots of girls, first of all.
Already
NFL,
has a baby.
Early 20s. Yeah. Yes, he knocked a girl up while he was in college. His home girlfriend from Sacramento wanted nothing to do with that child.
Didn't even see the kid paying $5,500 a month.
Didn't see him a drop. A judge actually ordered him to be a better father. That's amazing to me.
Should have known he was a scumbag.
And
unbelievable.
Still, even after a judge's order, didn't see that
Never
kid
saw him.
one goddamn stitch in his life. So didn't give a shit about that
Good
kid.
pick, Sharika. Good pick.
Good pick, Panthers.
Yeah,
nice job.
absolutely.
First overall.
Absolutely.
First round draft pick.
First ballot Hall of Fame scumbag.
So,
he's a piece of shit.
So here he goes. Well, we haven't proven him guilty yet.
Not
here.
yet.
The courts have.
All he's guilty
done.
of at this point is being a piece of shit. That's
and
it.
A mediocre Madden rookie.
Right.
So anyway, he dates Sharika Adams a bit while he's dating lots and lots of girls on the side, a couple of which actually testified at his trial as to their doings.
Can you imagine being them? You got to come in and be like, yeah, I'm a whore.
Yeah.
I fucked that guy. while he was fucking her, and her, and her, and her. Oh, what a horrible life that must be. And you've got to tell strangers how much of just a slut you are. And you don't even care.
No,
They kept going anyway.
Well, one of them actually was like saying she was his serious girlfriend, too,
Right.
which was the part she was the most...
Right.
The other ones were like, yeah, we dated a little on the side, we had some fun. This girl was like, oh, no, we were a thing. Like, they were together. Like, she had no clue. Meanwhile, this one's... Anyway, so he impregnates Sharika Adams, and the ball got rolling for her from there. He did not want this baby.
Meanwhile, they dated for like 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then she got pregnant.
Yeah.
And he was professing his love for her, saying he's going to marry her and this and that while he's banging other girls.
Well, you know.
And she decided she's going to keep this baby whether he wants to be around or not.
But I think about it, though. This guy, I mean, I understand the position. He doesn't really like her that much or whatever, and things happen. But at least just pay the child support and move on. There's no need to involve gunmen.
My dad left us when I was born. To my knowledge, no one ever threatened to kill my mother, and I'm here today alive and well. So
well, that's good.
It's possible to do, is what I'm saying.
Doing better than
you don't necessarily
Chancellor,
have to kill a bitch.
Yes.
And her kid, which he tried to do. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. That little bastard was resilient.
He is a tough little son of a
little
bitch.
shit.
Unbelievable.
So they go out for a while. He impregnates her. He's not real into it.
No.
Not real into the whole kid thing.
The whole father thing.
The whole father thing. Yeah, he's trying to kind of... But this is what I don't understand, okay? He let 8 months go by.
Yeah.
She was pregnant for 8 months. Before. Now, he knew he didn't want this kid and apparently was willing to go to any length to stop it. But yet, what kind of procrastinator... This is why I know he'd never be a great football player. He'd wait to watch film.
Right.
He was never going to be a Hall of Famer for this reason, right here. He didn't have it.
You can't wait for play to develop when you're a receiver. You have to develop the play,
You have to
Ray.
see
You have to
it ahead
go.
of time.
You have to run the route. You have to when they say hut, you got to go.
Letting 8 months go by is letting the route run you.
And
at that point.
a positive pregnancy test is hut. You have to go. You got to figure it out
Move
now.
on that.
Right.
Move. You have to decide your options, which apparently are marry this girl, child support payments. Right. Those are two separate options. Or shoot her.
Or hire Tracy Morgan.
Hire a Tracy Morgan character to shoot her, which we'll also get to a little later on.
James' fucking best thing you ever said.
He is a Tracy Morgan character. He is. Well, God, this is so... You want to get into the meat of this so quickly. So let's get right into it. On the night in question here, Rae Carruth takes an 8-month pregnant Sharika Adams to the movies, apparently on some sort of, let's go out on a date.
I wish I would have checked. That's the part I skipped.
What movie did they?
Yes, I want to know.
They did that. It was.
I want to know what's the last movie she saw.
Was it The Bone Collector? Or something
was it
like that?
something like that?
It was something like that. It was a late movie.
Oh God!
It was an odd thing.
There was an awful movie about
this is
death.
terrible that I don't have this. It was not good. It was not good. But yeah, they end up The Bone Collector.
It was The Bone Collector.
A late showing.
They saw
of The Bone
a terrible
Collector.
movie. That
And
poor girl.
apparently rushed her out. Made her drive her own car that night, which was an odd thing.
That's a dead giveaway that man ain't. This night is not above board. You meet me at the theater.
Squirrely.
Yeah. You're 8 months pregnant. You meet me there.
Yeah, it's right there. It's a little odd. So they go to the theater. They see this movie. They leave. Apparently, he's driving in front of her based on a 911 call.
Lead the way.
When another car pulls up beside her in her BMW, and her little every real estate agent has a little BMW. They have that. There's a 323 or a little M3, one of those, a 4-door, so she can fit her couple.
A $35,000 pretend to be rich car.
So anyway, she's driving this asshole mobile down the street in North Carolina. She's shot several times. They shoot at her, unloads. Apparently, Rae Carruth, according to this, Sharika Adams had enough in her to make a 911 call. She stumbled her bloody self to a house. And this is also amazing. Goes up to a residence. Guy wouldn't open the door. Was too scared of a bloody pregnant woman.
What a scumbag.
Called the cops from inside, but he was like, hold on, honey, I got you through the glass.
You're terrifying me. I saw The Bone Collector. I know what happens here. Whatever.
I'll throw a towel down from the second floor. Can you catch?
Towel off before I let you in. I just had the carpet done.
Not good. So
I got wood floors. You're a real estate agent. You know how much those cost.
Yes. So she makes this 911 call. She says apparently a car started shooting at her. Rae Carruth, her boyfriend, or however she said it, was in front of the car and blocked her in. So
I
she couldn't
believe
get
if
away.
you look at the transcript, I believe she said, "My baby's daddy."
My baby's daddy, yes, which a better description could not
so
be.
great.
Yeah, that is much more descriptive.
If my
than
baby's
boyfriend.
daddy stopped in front of me, it's Rae Carruth. He plays for the Panthers.
Okay, but another thing, we will get into Lenny Dykstra, we'll get into Mark Chimara. So any accents of any sort there'll be Southern accents
Right.
of rednecks. Everybody is an asshole, and
Everybody's
we're going to
an
go
idiot.
after all of them. So I don't want to hear any of that shit either. Go fuck yourselves. I don't care. This is we're having fun, and you're joining us with this anyway. So she says all this on the break, and also she's writing notes. There's a whole thing of her notes at
She's
the hospital.
sketching drawings
She's
and
sketching
shit.
drawings of like a guy in a Carolina helmet catching a football and then shooting her. Like, it's insane. She's just drawing all sorts of shit.
His victory dance, his 6-gun drawing, and
Yeah, that would have been a good one for him. So they have a C-section, emergency C-section, and they yank this kid who's just a disaster at this point.
he survived 70 minutes without oxygen.
That is amazing.
And he is not even full term. He's 4 weeks shy of full term, which babies are born
That's
then anyway.
fine.
But
My daughter
he's
did
not
the
even
same
full
thing.
term. He's still in the oven. And the kid can survive 70 minutes without oxygen. Take that, David Blaine, you piece of shit.
Amazing.
This kid's amazing.
Imagine if he was healthy with a swimmer, he would have been incredible. I mean, he would have been.
If his
Olympic
legs
champion.
worked, God damn it, Michael Phelps, you got a man that can give you a run for your money.
So at this point, little Chancellor's born, and he is a pile of pudding. It is not good.
He has palsy.
He's got cerebral palsy, all sorts of, you name it, he's got brain damage on
Right.
it. It is just, he's a mess at this point, this poor kid.
It's terrible.
It's awful, so.
And now he's old enough. That was in 99. Or was it 9? Yeah, it was 99.
99. Late
So
99.
now we're looking at 2016. The kid is 17 years old, 16, maybe almost 17 years old. And there's picture. If you Google a quick picture of Rae Carruth's son, there is a picture of him now with a mustache wearing a Carolina Panthers hat, which fucking blows my mind. I would never root for that team. I couldn't give a fuck if the owner of the Panthers himself shows up to my house with season tickets and jerseys and Cam Newton comes over to wash my feet. I fucking hate all of you.
Yeah.
One of your players tried to kill me, man, and we're going to talk about how is he wearing that hat? I don't care that he lives in that state, was born there. You were born there.
Not to mention, all that, plus, they're obviously bad at draft picks at this point. So the future of the team isn't good either, even though, as we speak, they're getting ready to play the NFC Championship
That is
game.
why we choose this case.
That also
because
helps. Yeah, we're going to...
They have a very good chance of being in the Super Bowl after tomorrow.
Without Rae Carruth.
Yeah, thank Christ, without Rae Carruth, who I don't think they're going to win tomorrow. But...
So Rae
That's neither here nor there.
Carruth goes to the hospital.
Right.
He doesn't ask about the kid. Doesn't ask
Says
about her,
nothing.
just hangs out.
Just sits down
Just
in a
hangs
chair.
out. I assume went to the machine, got himself some peanut M&Ms. just
He's got
sat
some
down for a while.
pretzels, some Hanovers. He's
was
sitting
chilling.
in a chair.
Put two chairs together, put his feet up. You know what I mean? Grabbed the magazine. He was really going at it, I think. He was doing the whole hospital experience. Besides caring
Right.
about the injured victims.
Besides giving a shit.
Rae Carruth does that. Some time goes by. They want to question him. He doesn't want to talk. I'm not interested in talking to you guys.
Unless you guys got some peanut M&Ms and two hospital chairs, I got nothing to say to you.
Some time goes by. Then she dies. Once the death happens, all of a sudden, Rae Carruth's in a trunk.
Yeah. Well, first they arrest him.
Yeah.
He posts $3 million bail.
Yeah. The arrest.
They
God,
let
I
him
guess they call
out,
the arrest.
and they tell him if she dies, you are to turn yourself in.
Makes sense. Fair enough.
To which he agrees, and then fucking disappears.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He hung around. Everything was
Right.
fine until she died.
Right.
Then no more.
Where's
Rae
Ray?
Carruth. So Rae Carruth apparently talked one of his girlfriends into, or friends who was a girl, I don't know, who,
Right.
into driving him in her trunk
Right.
out of town.
In her
They-
Toyota Camry. Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
They find him in Parker's Crossroads, Tennessee, which sounds like a Civil War battle site.
In a Best Western parking lot.
They found him and like Robert E. Lee's femur bone, like 40. So They got that going on. Yeah, and in the trunk with him I like, too, because this also shows a level of maturity. Because I'm going to ask you, what's in your escape trunk? What are you taking
That's
with
a
you?
good question.
And I'll let you think about that for a second. You can see what happened to his escape trunk, because I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as well. My favorite part, that part is pretty key.
Get some cash.
It's not very much, though.
Probably had it in his house.
Yeah, for a guy that just posted $3 million, and you know a chick's dead, how far are you going to get on 30? But then again, he's staying in
This seems like a really quick thing. This seems like...
Very hasty.
This is not a well planned out. This is not the Underground Railroad.
It's about as well planned as the killing of Sharika.
This is a complete just asshole driving away.
My
$3,900.
favorite part you're about to get to, I believe. Go.
Well, extra clothes. That makes sense. Grab a couple of things. Candy bars.
Yeah.
This is a source of nutrition back there. This is what he decided. He didn't even have a granola bar.
They didn't even have an
apple.
They
Nothing.
didn't even have those brainwashing Snickers commercials that peanuts are healthy for you.
He's in there, though. A cell phone. And, of course, bottles of urine, which is the one. Because
the black NFL Howard Hughes, I dig it so much.
But the thing that gets me about this is he's committed at this point. Because Western Tennessee from Charlotte, that's like he went up on the 40, they went up. That's a fucking jaunt. Like, that's all the way across Tennessee. So he was in the trunk for like at least 2 Ps.
At least
a couple of pisses back there, although I didn't hear of much to drink, but that was probably the bottle, and then he pissed in the bottle. He was expecting.
It's empty.
But he was fucking committed. He didn't get out of the hotel. He didn't want anyone to see him sneak into a room. This guy was into it. His mother turns him in because she doesn't want him to get hurt.
She wants him to come back home.
She doesn't want him getting hurt because she's there
Play
after
the
him.
system. You can win, Ray. Play
You're
the
rich.
system. Right.
Look at OJ.
You're so rich. You got $3,900 and a Minute Maid you're peeing into.
And a minute. Oh God. And by the way, we're not doing OJ.
No, never.
That's
Never.
That's
been
our
done to death. That's the
mantra.
line we don't cross.
There's movies enough. Fucking OJ. We get it with OJ.
At this point, Rae Carruth is a 90-year-old man who has outlived his reverse mortgage and has just given up. And he's peeing into jugs in the trunk of a car.
This is not a great plan.
No.
And the other thing, too, at what point, he's already in Western Tennessee.
Right.
At what point was he going to get out of the trunk? Was he just going to live in the trunk
He's
for the
going
rest
to
of his
stay
fucking
there?
life?
Is that your house now?
They're going to Mexico. Anyway, so he's arrested, and then the madness of the trial begins. He pleads not guilty, and then the trial was spectacular. I watched the trial.
They scooped him up so fast.
Oh, yeah.
And they all just started singing except for Ray. Everybody else is just talking.
And the Panthers waived him immediately.
Right away.
Immediately. Done.
And the
Trunk
NFL,
urine waived.
not even just the Panthers, the whole NFL indefinitely suspended. Goodbye, Ray.
That's domestic violence to another level. This guy makes Greg Hardy look like Hugh
Greg
Grant
Hardy
in like
is a great
90s
man.
Julia Roberts movie. Like just a nice, gentle, bumbling Englishman. That's Greg Hardy compared to this guy. So anyway, so the trial begins. He gets David Rudolph, which I don't know if anybody out there, if you guys have seen The Staircase.
Such a great documentary.
Fantastic. If you like Making a Murderer and Serial and all this type of shit, go see The Staircase. It's kind of
great.
Also see Thin Blue Line, which was made by Earl Morris, who's one of the best documentarians ever in the 80s. It's like 20 years ahead of its time at least. It's fucking amazing. Anyway, back to this. So
David Rudolph is the defense attorney in The Staircase, as well as for Rae Carruth.
And he is I'm from New York, I'll say, he's a real, like, New York-y type guy, clearly a Jew. Right. Again, not good in the South.
No.
I lived in North Carolina for a month, and people always say it's like they're racist, again, they don't like blacks. You could find a Klansman and a Black Panther standing next to each other saying how they hate a fucking guy from New York, especially if he's like Italian or Jewish or anything like that has like a food that smells weird to them.
If he has anywhere near a Brooklyn accent, they could give a fuck about him.
So this guy's over here trying to plead this Rae Carruth's case. Things are not going well from the start. The whole thing is a disaster. And then the highlight of Van Brett Watkins.
Oh, the guy's amazing.
The co-conspirator and the actual gunman. He is a Tracy Morgan character come to life and shooting a pregnant woman.
And I can't even tell if the man's like, he's damn near gay. He's so flamboyant.
It's amazing.
And he's so quick to call people bitch. He's
the
just
bitch
so
exchange.
goddamn fun. I love the man dearly.
He apparently told a jailer when Sharika Adams was in critical condition or whatever. He told the jailer, "I hope the bitch dies." And so David Rudolph brought this up at trial, to which Van Brett Watkins responded, "I was talking about your client. Your client's a bitch. He's a bitch."
I'm talking about Rae Carruth.
I'm talking about Rae Carruth.
He does a long U.
Yeah,
Rae Carruth is the bitch.
No. Yeah, like he's talking to a woman that he's trying to convince. Yeah. No, I went with Johnny. We were watching the game.
No, I was at Johnny's house.
We were watching the game.
Like
I ain't see Brandon.
Right.
I ain't see
What
Brandon. That's what it is.
condom?
Once again, wait till we get to Southern white people. We're going to just rip them apart.
Ruin them.
And dumb shits like Mark Chamorro. Anyway, so we'll get to that.
And then there's some jailer lady, Shirley, I forget her last name. Damn it, she was a sergeant with the jail. And she testified in the trial that Rae Carruth told, or that Van Brett Watkins told her that Rae owed him money and that he went after Rae because he wouldn't finance some drug deal. And she testified to this.
Yes. Also, that Van Brett Watkins said that when he was trying to pull up to them, that she flipped off Van Brett Watkins, which obviously
he was out looking for Rae, ran
a
across this
woman.
girl, and was like, "I'm gonna take out my frustrations with Rae on her." Meanwhile, then something came out at trial that this sergeant was found to have been in Rae Carruth's cell alone inappropriately, and because Ray's got this charm.
He's quite the charmer. He's quite the charmer, apparently.
And she was just singing the praises of Rae and talking down Mr. Watkins because she got that sweet Carruth dick. That is the rumor.
In jail, too.
Right, in jail.
That's jailed.
Jesus.
Jailed dick there.
Good for him.
That's the thing. Right there. It's, oh my goodness.
And she wasn't even, she looked like my grandmother. She was like just like a beehive hairdo and a bit overweight. Not a pretty lady.
Not good. But I mean, he's in jail.
Yeah. The pickings are slim.
Honestly, yeah, the pickings are slim. Yeah. You take what you can get,
right.
and honestly, to pull that off, I'm kind of that's pretty impressive.
Prison Tinder got her to swipe right. I'm very impressed.
He had his skills. Let's just say that. But like I said, about a 66 in Madden.
Yeah.
I would say lower in life, obviously.
For sure.
With the shooting and all.
But in terms of with the ladies. 95.
Young guy.
95.
Athletic. Money.
Gorgeous.
NFL. People like him. Yeah.
He can figure it out.
He
He's a charming son of a bitch.
But he's hanging out with Van Brett Watkins, this like a freelance nightclub promoter or some more shit they called him.
And he's doing odd jobs around Ray's house.
He's he's like Ray's pool guy.
Right. Stealing copper from somewhere else and replacing Ray's.
Ray doesn't even let him sleep in the garage, like in the house. He sleeps out in the garage. He's just like shit like that.
So Ray approaches him to kill this woman.
Allegedly. Not allegedly, it's proven.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Yeah.
This is great.
This is great, yeah.
We'll never have to say allegedly on this ever.
Yeah.
I mean, in
a couple maybe.
Right. But in terms of convictions, this is fucking great.
This is all.
So he tells Ray tells him that he's got this girl and he wants her dead, or he wants her to have a miscarriage. And he tells her, if you're serious, I need a deposit. And Ray, this cheap fuck, goes to the ATM and gives him $300. That's your deposit?
That'll do it.
That's the deposit on life? Jesus.
You can't get a used car with a deposit like that. Like they want you to put down a little more than that.
If he gave Sharika that money for earnest money towards a house, she would tell him to get fucked. And this guy's going to try to kill somebody with it?
That's the other thing. The grand total was $6,000.
That's amazing.
That is way less than I would think it would cost to kill a pregnant woman.
I feel like you can adopt a baby cheaper than that.
Yeah, but I mean, think about, I wouldn't think you could have a homeless man killed for $6,000, I would think you'd go to the first, a 10, a round number. Oh, what do you want, that guy killed? He's been shitting on your doorstep? 10 grand. I would think. This is a fucking pregnant woman.
Who's done nothing wrong.
And people, it's not like she's on the street. Her face is on those pictures in people's lawns. People know who the fuck this lady is.
Want to see more of this house? Call me.
Yeah, people have her card. Yeah. She's got a shitty little BMW. Things are going okay. She's banging a football player.
She's figuring it out.
For a 24-year-old girl, she's got a.
That's right.
She's doing all right. Young. She's 24 years old. This poor kid. So anyway, the whole thing goes on. Now I have to say, watching the trial, there was a compelling case to not to. You knew Rae Carruth was involved in some way, shape, or form, but the fact that Van Brett Watkins was as insane as he was, it seemed like he could get up there and in one breath be like, the sky's blue. And then you'd be like, did you just say the sky's blue? He'd be like, no, it's purple. And you'd be like, what the hell just happened? Because he was that kind of insane person.
My favorite part was at the beginning of the trial interviews. After it's all said and done, he's in prison. They're asking him how he got into this mess. And he's like, I don't know. I met Rae in the best time of my life. The man was living in a Best Western in North Carolina himself. He's living in a hotel room.
Jobs
that's where they
the
caught
house.
him, and that's the best time of his life.
Things
that's
are going
incredible.
well for him.
He's doing odd jobs for a mediocre NFL player.
God, that's not good, man. That's not good. But
Get
I remember
it together.
watching the trial, you'd hear the whole thing. And the funny thing about the trial, too, is you'd hear, like, the life of an NFL player. Because they'd be like, well, you had off this day and practice. And they'd all go over and play Madden with each other, which I thought was insane, too. They were all playing as, like, you know, themselves. And there's just an ego thing there with that whole insanity. But so this trial, there was doubts.
Yeah.
Because of Van Brett Watkins. Because you'd go, well, this guy seems insane. He seems like the type of guy that if you pissed him off, he'd try to shoot your pregnant girlfriend. Like, looking at him, you wouldn't want that guy to, like, want money from you.
Yeah.
You'd be like, he's going to do some crazy shit.
Right.
Like, he is fucking nuts.
And Van is on trial, or Van's at the trial of Rae, saying that he was threatened by Rae, a 5'9" wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah. Van, nobody's threatening this guy, I don't think. He looked like just
Van's like 6'6".
And he'd been in
jail. He's been out for violence against women.
He was not a meek fella.
No, not by any stretch. And that man's threatening me, he kept saying. Come on, Van.
No good.
Awesome.
But, I mean, between that and it just felt like there might be something. So in the end, I understood the verdict.
Right.
Because the verdict, they were seeking the death penalty in this case, which was a big deal.
First NFL player up for it ever.
Yeah, even OJ wasn't up for that. So yeah, they were seeking the death penalty here. So that was the first-degree murder charge, and the jury actually acquits on the first-degree charge because
and they split.
Yeah, which I think is insane because if you are sure he did it, it seems like we're not 100% positive. Right. So we're not going to kill this guy, but we'll convict him on the other counts, which were conspiracy to commit murder, was it shooting into an occupied vehicle, using an instrument to destroy an unborn child.
Right. Van's essentially the missing glove for OJ, where that one is the reason he didn't get convicted of, well, there's a lot, whatever. But Van's essentially the too small of gloves. You've got to acquit on the first degree because that man's too fucking psychotic and just so much of a circus involved in this trial, and they just split it. Which I can't imagine. I can't imagine that.
Van Brett was entertaining. Like they were questioning his mental state because it was obvious. And they're like, are you on medication? He's like, yeah, I'm on medication. Like, he was just yelling at them. You're like, wow, all right. They didn't know what to say to that. They're like, okay, well, he's on medication, I guess. But, I mean... This whole thing, it shakes out, so they end up convicting Rae Carruth. They sentence him to no less than 16 years, 8 months or something like that. At least 16 years, 8 months. Co-conspirators.
To 24, right?
To 24. Yeah, which is, you know.
That's pretty light.
That's light. $6,000. Life is cheap.
It really is.
$6,000, 18 years.
In North Carolina, you can get a lot for nothing.
Yeah, it's just the same as the real estate. You get houses for cheap there. You can get murders. Everything is very cheap there. If you're looking for value.
Yeah, that's where it's at, apparently.
North Carolina is where
Raleigh.
you go. So this guy, now Rae Carruth is now a convicted man. Van Brett Watkins is getting at least 40 years in prison. So he's gone for a while. The driver and the other guy that was in the car there, this guy, Michael Eugene Kennedy, was the driver. He got 11 years, 8 months. And, the other guy, what was his name? Stanley Boss Abraham. Boss Abraham, who was just like sitting in the back seat hanging out, I think.
Like a reverse nickname.
Yeah.
He's just the lowly guy that was just with Kennedy that night. And he's like, you want to go with me, man? And he's like, yeah. I'll come along. All right, boss, let's roll.
Yeah, and that was it.
Hang out in the back seat.
He only got a year and a half, though.
Yeah, good for him.
Which I thought that was pretty light. I mean, if you're in the car.
Yeah, I mean.
It's, you know.
But you're going to see some shit.
That's something. So anyway, Rae Carruth, he's sentenced to prison. He goes to prison. His mother still is out on the loose, just professing his innocence.
Still talking about Rae didn't do it.
little Chancellor is being raised by Sandra Adams, Sharika's mom.
That kid is amazing.
This lady is, I mean, I don't know whether to call her like a saint or a crazy person, because she's out there saying how, she's forgiven Rae a long time ago, and she just hopes that
she even forgave Watkins.
Oh, he's fine. Yeah,
everybody's forgiven. We got closure. What?
Her dream, her ultimate thing that she wants to see is Rae reunited with his son,
Chancellor,
so they can hug it out, have some bro down time. He tried to, as the charge states, he tried to destroy him, not just kill him, destroy him. And she wants him to meet him and be a part of his life. Well, how do you walk up to a child who is twisted like a pretzel and say...
And it's because of you.
Yeah, and say, hey, things would have went well for you. You're from good athletic stock. You would have probably had like a good college, a free scholarship. You'd have been banging girls all the time. But I didn't want to pay a couple grand a month. So instead, I turned you into a pile of Jell-O pudding. Sorry about that.
What do you say? Do you walk up and say, how you been? Before you reply, let me wipe that slobber off your chin. What do you say to a man that you just ruined everything in his life? How do you walk up and be like, I know I missed the last 18 years of your life. How you been, Chancellor?
Nice hat.
Yeah. I dig your hat. I used to wear a helmet with that same logo.
God. Now you're going to have a helmet with that same logo.
Because I'm going to headbutt you, you son of a bitch. And if he would, and looking at it the other way, at 2018 when he gets out, Chancellor will be 18 years old, which is the cutoff for child support. Had he just paid the child support, by the time he sees him, he would have been done paying and could have maybe had a decent little 8-year run in the NFL, maybe had a couple $1,000,000 in the bank to go spend some time with Chancellor and maybe have a conversation with him, because now that's not happening.
Not to mention the first fucking kid from Sacramento.
Right.
What about
Where's
this
that guy?
Yeah, this fucking kid has
That kid's
nothing.
near 30 by
his name?
now.
Raylondo. Poor little Raylondo.
Running around with Mr. Carruth's name.
Sitting there, and my dad's, he's the guy who was an NFL player and killed it. Yeah, never mind.
You may have heard of my dad, Ray.
So... he's got that still going on. He's got to deal with that. So now he's in prison. He's in North Carolina. At the current, right this moment, he's in the Tyrell work farm, which sounds like a great place to be.
That sounds miserable.
That
sounds like Candyland from Django. That sounds horrific.
Not exactly Canton, Ohio Football Hall of Fame at that point.
No.
Most NFL players, they're retired. They're in like Scottsdale.
Right.
Or they're in like Tampa down there. They like Florida.
Laying low. Maybe they're in North Carolina where you can buy lots of real estate cheap.
I guarantee you they're nowhere that is called a work farm. That's the one thing.
Named after the whitest cowboy name ever of Tyrell. Tyrell Work Farm.
Not good.
I wish it had an apostrophe S to where it was just
Tyrell's Work Farm. Just a man named Tyrell.
So good.
Be like, I got prisoners on my farm.
Just a sweaty man with hairy shoulders and back screaming about clean that up.
So he's actually gotten in trouble a couple of times in
love
jail.
that.
Not in like 10 years. What, 2002, he had something with bartering, trading, loaning money. That's all we could get out of the actual charge. And then also provoking assault. So I don't know, provoking assault, asking for it is apparently a crime in prison.
The charge is on the same day. Maybe he was bartering and trading and loaning money to provoke an assault.
I think so. He was trying to...
It's right up his alley.
I think he was trying to I'll lend you money. I have money.
Sounds about like the same kind of thing that he's in prison for. I'll trade you money if you commit an assault.
In January of 2003, he got in trouble for unauthorized phone use, which, whatever. I mean, that's its prison. I can see that happening. And then in August of 2004, he got in trouble for fighting, which I thought is hilarious because why not? I mean, what the fuck? This is the first, at least I bet it wasn't a pregnant woman.
I'm positive of that.
So that's good anyway. So he's making progress is what we're getting at.
First time it's male-on-male fighting.
It's male-on-male violence, which is a little better.
It's about time, Ray.
It's a good
You've
job,
learned.
Rae. Let's give it a Rae Carruth.
Congratulations,
Good job,
Ray.
buddy. You got it, man.
I like your moves,
Finally. So he hasn't been in trouble since then. He's actually projected release date is is October 22nd, 2018, right in time for Halloween.
Perfect.
So he can put on a little costume and take
Go
a
as
little
Rae Carruth.
Yeah, what's scarier than that?
Go as Cam Newton, sir. I've cleaned up my image.
Go with Steve Smith, a successful Carolina receiver.
The one that you wish you could have been. Also around 5'9", wasn't
and
he?
also wore number 89, which was Rae Carruth's
Did
number.
he really?
Yes, he took Rae Carruth's number.
That is amazing.
Which is so odd for a small wide receiver. I don't like small wide receivers wearing numbers like that. It looks too big. It's like a tight end number or something like that. A small wide receiver, I want to see him wearing like 83.
81.
81.
Right.
Yeah, something looks fast. You know what I mean? None of this
89 is almost
shit.
that's a tight end number. Stop
Steve
it.
Smith's amazing, so let's
Yeah,
not get it
he's
anyway.
great.
But anyway, so yeah. So Rae Carruth, that's it. He's scheduled for release then. Van Brett Watkins, I assume he'll die in prison. He was
Fingers
like
crossed.
40 when he got sentenced to at least 40 years. Didn't seem like a healthy guy.
No.
Did a lot of drugs, was overweight.
Very overweight. He
Probably gets in fights.
I'm imagining, yes.
Someone's going to stab him.
Right. I'm imagining if he doesn't get
Diabetes.
stabbed, his sentence is going to get prolonged as well for just psychotic behavior. Not just bad behavior, psychotic. I'm sure that meant,
diabetes will take his foot, yet he'll still be an asshole and start fights, and someone will beat him to death.
Yeah, with said foot.
With his severed foot. So I think that's what's going to happen to him. Chancellor, he is going to spend his life, right now he's in a care facility, I think, part of the time, and with Sandra Adams, the other
Sandra
part.
has created, she joined MOMO, which is Mothers of Murdered Offspring.
Yes.
And she sat on the board. I believe she became the president for a while. The woman has, going back to before, she may very well be a saint. The woman is amazing.
It's possible.
She has a heart of gold.
We're leaning away from crazy on her?
Maybe.
Okay.
And, to step up and
All
raise a child with palsy cannot be easy.
And she's pretty, just cool about it. She's very...
To forgive both of these scumbags and raise that child, and then any interview you ever see of her, it's just glowing reviews of how great of a kid Chancellor is, which I'm sure he is. He doesn't know any better. But he's
No, he doesn't.
He has no ability to not be a great kid. And God love him. I pray that he always stays that way, because the poor kid has already been dealt the worst hand that you can get. Your father didn't want you, and I'm very familiar, Chancellor. My father didn't want me either, but you fought through it, man, and you got to where you're at.
So good for Chancellor, anyway.
Yeah.
Chancellor's
I feel
doing
like he
fine.
could probably play for, I don't know, maybe Jacksonville. They could use.
So that's probably.
They could use a player
or two. Still,
go to San Francisco. Give it a shot,
Blake
Chancellor.
Bortles needs someone to throw to down there. It's a mess over there. Yeah, so Rae Carruth, anyway, wrapping him up. He'll be out in a couple years, so look for that out there, guys.
Depending on what area of the country you're in the South,
if you're hanging out in North Carolina, possibly
when that man buys you a drink at the bar, and he has a bald head, light skin, very charming, just ask, are you Rae Carruth?
Are you Rae Carruth?
Yeah. How do you feel about kids? Just ask that. How do you feel about kids?
Do you have any kids?
How many kids you got?
Did you try to murder any of them at any point? Is that a thing?
If I get pregnant, how much danger am I in?
What are we talking here? I'm not real pushy. I'll say that right off the bat.
I'm not
real pushy.
I love
Cut
how
me a check once in a while.
we have turned this into kind of just not necessarily even promoting anybody or taking any sides. We will swing at anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we're going to continue that on down the road. We're scumbags. And
that's what it is.
At least we're not Rae Carruth.
We're not Rae Carruth, but excuse me. We're going to be having a different one every week. We're going to be releasing one every Tuesday, and it'll be someone new every week. We're going to put it out on Twitter. We'll tweet out who we're going to do, their mugshot, the whole deal. You can get a little backstory on them and follow along. You can follow us on Twitter at crimeinsports. So that's very simple. You can follow Jimmy Whisman at Whisman Sucks on Twitter. Whisman is WHISMAN, and Sucks is Sucks. And you can follow me at Jimmy P is Funny. And that's about it.
I love it.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us for our first show. We'll be back next week with another horrible asshole to tell you about. And it's going to be
really
wonderful.
looking forward to that scumbag, and we will name that at a later date.
Yeah, we're going to, like I said, we'll tweet it out right away. Looking at possibly maybe Lenny Dykstra Or maybe stick with the violence for a couple more, and then we'll go into
Let's
more
do that,
financial things. But he's
Skip
one of
the
the
white
bigger
collar
idiots.
crime for a little bit. He's just
Yeah.
an idiot.
Well, we have to get a white guy in at some point,
yeah,
is what I'm
absolutely.
going for. And Shumara wasn't actually convicted, even
Right.
though that fucking guy was diddling that babysitter like nobody's business. If you go in a hot tub with a 16-year-old fucking kid,
There's a reason
you're out
for
of
that,
your mind. I'm sorry.
Let me show you the jets.
Especially in Wisconsin.
Right.
In Wisconsin in the fucking winter,
Right.
if you take your clothes off, you're fucking somebody.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's such a pain in the ass. There's 14 layers. You're shit-faced. There's buttons involved. You're fucking them. So anyway, with that, thank you very much. Jimmy Whisman
Thank
here.
you guys for joining us.
Thank you, and we will see you next week. Crime and
Goodbye.
Sports Podcast.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey. Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns. We see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had. And, of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put our, what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now. So get in there, listen to Small Town Murder, follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.